Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Onward VR Master League. My name is NightFiree with 2 E's. I am here with my co-caster, Todd Havercorn. How are you today, sir?
Oh, pretty good. How are you?
I'm excellent. I'm looking forward to an exciting matchup today on the EU side of things, something we don't often get to see here. It is going to be Silent Purge versus Vikings. And although they are diamond versus silver, the MMR is not too far separated. I was taking a look at it, and I think this is something you kind of run into with the EU teams because there's not quite as many teams in the EU. You get these sort of tighter matchups with these bigger disparities in rank, I guess. So, you know, it's kind of an opportunity, really, for Vikings to get some nice MMR, kind of bump themselves up in the rankings, maybe push themselves to a gold tier team at the very least. And, I mean, both squads have been playing really well. What are you expecting today?
Plenty of clutch plays, maybe a cap or two, but overall some really fun gameplay.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good. Silent Purge, looking at their past score lines, they've had some very good games, winning against Cold Steel in the Button Cup match. And then recently winning against Big Red One. They struggle against the real tough competitors of EU, just like anybody does against an NA. You know, they lost recently against beginners 12-3. But I mean, their losses are very few and far between, honestly, just to beginners and Lemon Squad early on in the season, and a boss fight very early on in the season. But they're looking strong, and same with Vikings. They nearly won against boss fight the last time I tuned into them. I think it's going to be a really good brawl, and I think we should dive pretty quickly into our pick bans because we're going to be hopping into this match in no time. Todd, why don't you hit us with those pick bans?
Well, I believe that Silent Purge has done a pretty generic ban, which is Subway, a map that doesn't really get too much love anyways.
Yeah.
But Vikings have banned a very popular map, Quarantine.
Yeah, it's, you know, against a squad like Silent Purge, it is a decent idea. Maybe they just don't feel confident on that map. We'd have to take a deeper dive in on the stats.
Well, I'm looking at their stats right now,
okay.
And they have a good 60% round win on Quarantine. So it's not I don't think it'd be their worst map. It's just maybe they didn't like the idea of going against a long-range map with Silent Purge.
Well, I'd agree with you if we weren't going into the longest range map for our first pick, which is going to be Downfall.
Getting called out right in the cast.
No, it's just, you know, Silent Purge picking into Downfall. It is maybe just I don't know. It's going to be an interesting start to the series because, you know, I'm expecting a close battle, and to start it on Downfall, both teams are going to really have to work, you know, to get a Marsoc round. So I think we might see a real good back and forth here.
Yeah, I find it really interesting that people are beginning to choose Downfall more over Quarantine because from what I understand, Quarantine usually gets more love in the community than Downfall, mainly because Downfall, even though it doesn't look like it, is a very lanular map. There's very narrow lanes of plays that you can go on, whereas Quarantine's a little bit more open in that sense.
Yeah, and I guess before we hop into the match, we'll take a quick look at the rosters for both squads. Silent Purge have Jay, Don Patron, Saz Gunner, Architect, Button, King of the North, and Mad Eyes. And over on Vikings, we have Spoilty, Mantis, Krorzi, Femuculus Fungi, K1 Gecko, Nactum, and Nalik.
And I believe they have 35 too, as a new pickup.
Ooh, okay. Hot off the presses.
Yes. At least it's showing up on my website.
Oh yeah, we're getting slightly cut off, I guess. And then on the active rosters for today, we have over on Silent Purge, we have SPJ, Architect, Don Patron, King of the North, and Button. Seems to be the standard. And over on Vikings, we have Nalik, Noctum, Mantis, Spoilty, and Fungi.
All with the V in their name, but we'll try not to call them V.
It's a little bit easier when it's just one letter. I can kind of get past it, but when it's a whole name, it just starts to throw us off.
Yeah, I think there was a team called Riot that threw you off a couple times. But I think they changed their ways to the better.
We'll see how the match shapes up as we dive into round 1. Map 1 of this matchup in EU side, Silent Purge versus Vikings. Vikings not going to identify that fast spawn. We'll see what kind of defensive lineup they go with.
Spreading out. They're trying to cover as much ground as they can and find a bunch of different positions to establish such a large kill box. Forcing the opponent to take cover anywhere they can really find, but cover's going to be hard and few when you're so spread out like that.
You have that northeast spawn. Going to be a little bit for them to work down into objective. Don Patron looking for an Overwatch position here. Sometimes you can catch out early rotations. They are fortunate that Don didn't take any shots on them as they were rotating up. And I think one of the things that did definitely save Vikings is when Mantis rotated to White House, he used the ravine back here. I think Don definitely would have had a line of sight on him otherwise.
Silent Purge is choosing to take this really slowly, even though they got all the space in the world. They literally spawned on the opposite corner of the map. They're treating it like they're next door neighbors.
Yeah, they haven't really only sent one around to that far east side. Everyone else kind of just lingering about over at this red carport.
I think the current strategy is to bore Vikings to death.
It's definitely something that I wanted to kind of bring up in our pre-round discussion, because I know that with the EU, the sort of meta strats tend to be a little bit slower paced. It's sort of what beginners have maybe forced a lot of teams into, because that's their dominating play style. And you know, Silent Purge and Vikings, they're both EU teams. I think we could definitely see a slower pace down to the last sort of minute matchup for these offensive rounds versus, you know, maybe a 3 or a 4 or a 2-minute round.
But as we say that, Jay has managed to get to the Marsoc Towers, establishing a good flanking position, maybe able to call out some of the defenders and formulate an attack plan.
And suppressive fire coming from North Hotel. Draw the eye so that Jay can do just that. Maybe able to catch one there.
I wonder if Mantis will be able to catch out Jay on a quick peek here from this building. He does have a line of sight if he chooses to go into this window, but I don't know if he has the appropriate equipment to take care of that.
It's so risky to peek that white window right now, especially on Volk. You have Jay here who can get a good line of sight on it. You got someone over in North Hotel who also can take shots all the way into that White House windows. And now with the lighting in there, you are very visible, so got to be careful to peek it. Jay has kind of shown himself, taking some shots out. And look at that, right as those shots went out, the rest of the team has moved. Don rotating off of that North Hotel position and pushing in. Shifting around to the west. They'll try and come down this big west lane, which is fairly uncovered.
Some C4 going off in the distance. Not finding any bodies, though.
Up on the rooftop there. I'm not sure why you would detonate that. You definitely know if somebody was on your roof. You could hear the footsteps.
Seeing a really nice line descend around the Vikings defense here.
Yeah, with good time too. 1:50 left on the clock. Everyone coming in from the center all the way to the south. Have to be careful. Femi has to kind of kick off this defensive hold for Vikings and catch out this west approach. We're gonna have an engagement up on that White House soon enough. If Manus isn't careful, Jay's slowly inching his way up there.
Captain versus co-captain. Who will win this duel?
Looks like some shots did come out from Fimi. I think he did finally see Don there. He's trying to hit him on the other side of the wall and can't quite land him. Jay's initiated the smokes on the south.
I think Mantis now realizes where Jay probably is. He's waiting for him to make that push.
Fimi and Don trading. Don's tossed a smoke out and tries to rotate. Fimi catches him with some good shots through the camo. Jay's rotating in the smokes, though. He's pushing objective. He could be coming in from underneath. If Nalik isn't paying attention, Jay's going to sneak in underneath. He can cap on the objective right now. He's here.
7 digits.
They don't realize it.
Is all it takes for 2 points.
What's he doing? He's trying to find his pad. It's on the ground. He's dropped it. He sees it there now. Fimi's here. He rotates in. Jay gets the gun up. Oh my gosh. 20 seconds left now. Who's left alive on Silent Purge?
Jay is resible with 14 seconds left. Nalik's going to finish that off. It's looking like Vikings are going to take the first point home after almost losing it by 2.
King of the North trying to find something here, but can't quite push up in time, and Vikings are going to hold on by the skin of their teeth. He drops the pad behind his back, and he didn't know it, and he was going for everything but the pad.
Late rotations cost 2 points. And Vikings almost learned that lesson if it weren't for the fact that gravity gave them a little hand there.
Yeah, it really did. It sucked the pad out of the backpack.
I hear in the next update they're gonna nerf the gravity. So
okay, that'll be good.
Yeah.
Wow. So unfortunate though, because that's the cap right there. You know, you said it, 7 digits. Not too hard to punch in I'd say 10 seconds. An experienced player can do it in on average, probably less. Ideally less than that, right? But you know, if you have to go in there, pick up the code, and then punch it in all in one swoop, I would say 10 seconds is enough. And I think he had that time there, but he just with the fumbling of the pad couldn't get it off.
And everyone really hypes like a 10-second code punch, but it really isn't that hard. All you have to do is just memorize beforehand and just go in.
You can cut you can cut that time down in half if you have the code going in ahead of time. But if you have to do a quick memorization of it once you get there, then yeah, it'll take longer. But yeah, there's definitely some different strategies. I know you hear a lot of people when you start a round reciting codes.
I don't bother with that. I'm gonna, like, between the firefights and stuff like that, I'm gonna forget it. So I just try to find a place, memorize it, then push in. We're gonna have the same spawn, so no quick spawn action this time, ladies and gentlemen.
No quick spawn for round 2 of map number 1. Silent Purge, see how they send out their defense. Probably in a similar spread. I think the standard is to at least send one to that middle 3-story. I mean, almost exactly the same, really, except they're putting arc underneath.
Yeah, there's really no reason to engage people.
Yeah.
Unless they're wide open when they're far out, because it exposes you, it exposes your position, and then they can get an idea how your team's defense is set up. You might as well just stay hunkered down, wait for them to come to you, and fight it out in the close range.
There was a shot that just went off. Yeah, now they know for sure that this is a northeast spawn, so I don't think they're going to rotate or try and react to any, but maybe a White House peek that window, although it is pretty risky. But I mean, we're not going to see anything until the Vikings are pretty much on top of objective.
Vikings are also choosing to take this really slowly. Once again, that EU meta is coming in.
Really, Don Patron may be able to catch out an early pick from this downstairs position. He's looking right over to those Vikings position just over the other side of the red truck.
Once again, we're having a flanker push toward the Marsoc Towers, and Mantis
see him over there on the east side. He'll be rotating up. He'll be trying to maybe distract the White House while the rest of his team comes down from the north. Actually, it looks like they're going to send another 2 potentially around to the east side as well. That's a long rotation, though.
It is a long rotation, but if they come in hard and fast, they can probably pull something off.
Maybe if they come up the middle, they'll be able to sort of pace up with the rest of the team. Because they have Femi and Spoilt already here over on the west.
Jay is looking out that window, waiting for people to come down that valley. No one's really there yet. Mantis is in the other building, which is kind of nestled behind South Marsoc Tower.
Yeah, he hasn't gone as aggressive as Jay did. He hasn't pushed up into that front room yet.
I know, I think Jay saved all the aggression for the final, like, what, minute?
Oh, man. I mean, it was a really smart play. He put the smokes right in the right positions. He ran through them, managed to sneak in under the distraction of the rest of his team. I mean, if Vikings have the chance here, they can pull something similar off. Femi's tossing out some smokes onto objective. He's definitely going to draw the eye of, at the very least, Dawn, potentially Button, and King, honestly. And that's going to open up a lot of attacking angles.
And we might have a duel between Mantis and Jay here. With Mantis obviously at the disadvantage, he's out in the open. If Jay comes back to that window, he was so closely guarding before well, his ADHD kicked in.
I think it was all the gunfire over here on the other side that's been distracting him. The smoke's coming out. He definitely wants to have the overwatch onto objective, and it's an opportunity for Mantis to flank in, and because I don't think Jay's going to go back to that angle because he's already caught Spoilty out as he's tried to make an approach onto OBJ.
But now Mantis knows exactly where Jay is.
Mantis has to start moving. He has to catch him off guard. He's super exposed right now if Jay rotates back. Shots here between Dawn and that middle house. Can't land him between the wood stairs and has to go for a reload. 2 minutes left.
Jay is back in that window there, but now I think he lost his opportunity.
Bimmy with a nice pick on the arc on the other side of this wall. We'll exchange
Jay
a fire
will look
here
anywhere
between Button. Yeah, it'll happen. It's all right. We don't need to watch the entirely slow approach. There's exchange of fire here between Button in the middle, and I can't tell who's up in that center there. He's just nearly missing Button. Jay finally catches out Mantis into that as he pushes out, and Vikings dropping like flies as Silent Purge start to pick him off left and right. We're having another trade here.
Don Patron and Nalik trading fire but not finding each other. Nalik going on the wraparound here. Don Patron chooses to go for the high ground. Nalik trying to predict that, but it is incorrect. Nalik super exposed, gets caught out by King of the North.
This whole time, Nakdam is trying to hit Button in his position that he's been tucked into in that little tiny building, and he just can't lay on the shots, and now he's the last one alive with 45 seconds. He has to move.
Move he does, but he only moves 10 feet.
Jeez. Jay up there doing some work in that White House, catches out another. I think that makes 4 total in these 2 rounds. He's definitely been putting in some work, and Silent Purge tied up 1-1.
Rogue advantage, but Silent Purge has definitely shown that they're a little bit more mastery if they can just grab their tablets. I'm gonna give Jay so much of a hard time for that. That was so perfect. Now we move on to a different objective. Now we got burning helicopter objective, particularly capable one. Many different angles.
I think I would argue the opposite.
I've seen people pull off some crazy stuff, man.
I think with a diligent, with top tier teams, it's very easy to defend. The kill box that you can form around this objective is so hard to deal with. It requires really good smokes and the proper approach. If you just tuck in and wait for them to get very close to objective, it gets very hard to push in on that last little bit. I imagine that's what we'll see. Because we have this EU style. Both these teams are going to be playing it pretty slow and cautious. So I think we're going to see a decently tight kill box around objective. And another, maybe, action not coming down until that 2-minute mark.
Well, enough speculation. We are jumping into the round now. No close spawn this time. Volk there was sharing mags. And Marsoc is let out onto whatever push they so choose. It looked like they're going to go spread out.
All like kind of taking an advanced position, and they're actually, opposed to staying tight around objective, Vikings have gotten in pretty spread out, and I would definitely see some potential for caps if they get the right smokes and they make the right approach. We'll see what Silent Purge can do on their second offensive round. Compatron looking for some picks over here in the south, just kind of surveying the land.
Vikings focus south. I'm not really sure if they understand how much of a mid push there is going on. I think they think everyone's gone south, maybe with one north.
I mean, they have the right idea. That's exactly what Silent Purge are doing. Ark's pretty much in the middle. The rest of that squad is heavily south-faced.
Silent Purge really like to use the walls more than the terrain. Something that I've noticed, at least so far. I don't know if that's another EU thing. Maybe it's just mastery, because it is a lot harder to have to, you know, jump leapfrog from cover to cover along the wall routes.
Attack sending out some suppressive fires, somehow not landing those shots on a wide open angle. And he gets punished for it. Manus finds the refrag. I guess the answer back, rather. No frag was found. More shots coming from King of the North. They really want that OBJ defender. Nakdom. He is relatively exposed, but he's using just that little bit of a slope and the wall, like you said, to kind of deny the angles. It's such a tight little spot. I'm surprised he didn't get caught out, though. They had a great line of sight. He almost catches another rotating. King of the North now kind of suppressed by Nakdom.
Nakdom, I think he sees King of the North, but they're just both hunkered down. But as I say that, King of the North does find Nakdom through the wall and through the building wall, actually.
Yeah, that's a pretty tight angle. Yeah, that's a pretty tight angle.
Through the keyhole.
Yeah.
Puts smoke in the nothing but net on the hotel.
I think Don maybe suspects there is a rooftop defender, is unsure of Manus's position, who's actually in that little 2-story, or in the 2nd story of that 3-story building. And this is the push, 2 minutes in. Timing is right. Button finds Fimi, and now Silent Purge in a 4v3 advantage. Nalik kind of far away from objective, not with a direct line of sight onto it. If they push in from the west, it's going to be bad news for Vikings.
King in the North had the perfect beat on Mantis, but none of his shots out of his whole clip made it.
Oh, and he gets...
And Mantis punishes.
Ooh, Don Patron with the refrag, though, does take out Mantis, and now Vikings into a 2v3. Nalik has to rotate into a better vantage point onto objective. I guess he does have some line of sight onto the angles from that two-story, but if I don't know. I guess they don't have very much utility left. He does find Don on the backside, and there he evens it up into a 2v2.
There's not much of a line of sight on objective right now.
They're really relying heavily on catching them out before they get there. And I think that's the right way to go now because the utility has been used to get into that three-story. Spoilty and Nalik can just sort of cover the angles. Maybe going prone here would be the right approach and trying to inchworm your way up there.
I agree, and as they say, Button UK had the right idea, except he just wasn't low enough.
Yeah, I think if he was prone there, he would have been able to crawl his way up to objective and nobody would have spotted him.
As we say, that proning takes time, and time is not on their side. 50 seconds remaining.
Jay's going to go for it. He's going to have to really expose himself here. He gets caught out by that position from Nalik in the two-story, and Vikings hang on, grab themselves there, Volk round, take the lead 2-1.
Yeah, Viking defense has really tightened up since that last round of almost giving away a cap.
Yeah, that was so close.
I hope someone clipped that.
Yeah, oh, I'm sure the shame will be thrown at. I can't remember who dropped the pad there, but
I believe that was Jay.
Was it Jay? Yeah, you're right.
I believe it was Jay. And you know what it is? Sometimes in VR, for those of us who are non-VR, who are our viewers, sometimes the play space can be a little off at times, so you can be kind of like floating above the ground, if you get what I'm saying. And it might have happened there, so he would physically, in order to grab his pad, would have to stuck his controller through his physical floor. VR is rocket science.
Yeah, it can get finicky at times. That is for
Very
sure.
Fragile.
Yeah, sometimes. I haven't seen it happen in a while, but in the old days, if you were reloaded too fast, you could put an empty mag back into your clip, or an empty. Well, that didn't make any sense. An empty mag back into your gun.
I got what you're saying the first time, but this is these games are as polished as they are now compared to how they used to be. Are still in their infancy.
Can't wait till those new controllers come out and you're really feeling the grenades and throwing them.
I would love for Onward to have the Vive knuckles.
Yeah.
So,
I'd like to be able to throw a curved ball grenade.
You know, if the Vive knuckles catch up, the future of ProTube will be just two sticks sticking out of a longer stick for you to grab onto.
Yeah, that's the future.
Imagine marketing that.
We can't predict the future, but we can see what happens next as we get into round number 4 of this pretty solid EU matchup so far. As we expected, I was expecting a close duel, and with Downfall to kick it off, I anticipated back-to-back, Volk rounds here, and that's what we've had so far. Just kind of waiting for one of these teams to up their offensive game and take a round.
Vikings, Silent Purge's defense, pretty similar. I think they're a little bit closer to objective than the Vikings.
Yeah. This is more of the tight kill box I was kind of talking about that you'd want to set up around the objective. Everyone's just sort of waiting for those angles to when they cross. And you can see that Vikings are sending 4 north with this one to sort of suppress J here in the south.
They're also choosing to, they're choosing to go more on a north punch.
Oh,
oh, and a team kill.
Yikes!
Not resable. I wonder if we'll see that new feature in Onward where you can forgive punish.
Gee, Spoilty dropped from the lobby as he gets kicked for team killing a teammate.
Oh no, I killed Fungi.
Yep, there's the. I was waiting to hear the sorrow in Spoilty's voice as he realizes it's a friendly, and yeah, Fimi had pushed up to a pretty forward position, and I guess he just wasn't. The rest of his squad wasn't expecting him there. Now they know that there's at least one up in the north and one south.
Yeah, a couple shots coming out of Nolic towards Spoilty verbally. That'll affect his game. Still some shots coming out from the Marsoc Towers area. As Mantis tries to be an annoyance, I'd imagine. Or a pest.
Yeah, I think
Get it?
It's a bug.
I'm on a roll, guys.
Don't support his puns, but free country, he can do what he wants. Knocked him Nalik and Spoilty inching their way up here on the north, and I think this is the right approach. Kind of looking at how Silent Purge are set up. They have a lot of focus, a lot of angles covering the south. Not a ton really covering the north until it's right on top of objectives, so I think Nalik also there just kind of sprinted into that bottom story and pre-fired the corners.
Spoilty's kind of sneaking up, not as quiet as he can be, to this building here. He doesn't know that there's a danger lurking in the basement. That danger is, of course, the Button UK.
He should know there's someone in the basement. That is definitely a pretty meta defensive spot. For at least somebody to be in that basement. Maybe not necessarily looking out the window that Button's looking out of, but see if Button can stay focused. Shots coming in from Arc and Mantis in this trade here onto the south side, while the smokes come in from the north, and they're starting to push up.
Now choosing to go on the hard flank. Will he catch King of the North? Ducking down into a crater as King spots him, calling him out. Will he try to go for the refrag or just reposition?
I don't know, but they're distracting Button enough to where Spoilty is pretty much completely exposed to an angle Button should have. But he's inching his way towards objective. If Spoilty can get there quietly enough onto the corner under the guise of smoke, he may be able to cap if Jay doesn't turn around and check this. Spoilty's here. King of the North and Button trading. Actually knocked him, finding Button there.
Arc attack. He's beginning to make a rush around. He's been called out by Button.
Oh no, Spoilty does get identified. Arc attack coming in hot. Tries to find Spoilty on the reload, but Spoilty catches him out, and now we're into a 1v3.
The awkward call out coming out from Arc.
They have to push. They know he's on objective. Ooh, almost catches another. If he had caught Jay, it might have been the 1v5, but can't quite do it. And Silent Purge pulling off another Volk round, albeit very closely, keeping things tied 2-2.
I'm pretty sure if those smokes came out a little bit later, he might have been able to sneak it.
Yeah, I agree.
Sneak one in there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, would be 3, right? Yeah.
He did get called out by Button, who did just get downed. I think Button had a line of sight behind the smokes, so just a smart move. I mean, Button there with literally the clutchest of callouts. It just goes to show you how important communication is in the game. If he didn't identify Marsoc on objective, they wouldn't have pushed like that. He could have crawled up to objective potentially and capped. Man, Silent Purge have been getting really close.
That tactical reload too. Against Arc attack. I was not expecting that.
That was a fast one.
Keep in mind, whoever caps next wins the round, and we've been getting pretty close to caps here.
Yeah, we have. Absolutely have. Both teams putting in good efforts and getting close. We'll see if Silent Purge can go on the offense now.
And we get a pretty quick round reset.
I think, not sure what happened there, but either way.
Probably someone didn't ready up.
Yeah. I think this is the real one.
Are you sure? Yeah, it's probably
As sure as we get into round number 5. So far, it has been a Volk exchange. All it's going to take is one team to change that. Maybe find themselves with a Marsoc cap and get themselves the round. Silent Purge have the opportunity now. Vikings will have it next, and if they can defend.
We haven't been seeing any quick spawns at all in this map.
I know, I was thinking the same thing. Everything's been... It's just like the spawns have been catering to the EU playstyle, you know, spreading them out far, allowing them to take their time to push up to objective.
I'd be very interested in seeing what an EU quick spawn looks like.
You know,
between these two teams.
I've seen it. I've seen beginners play quick like one round on a map once, and it was pretty good. They definitely have it in their playbook. It's just maybe it's a preference thing, but it just doesn't. The fast play styles don't come out very often. Also,
I've also seen
it's the map too. You know, we're on downfall.
It's the map, yeah. I've seen Lemon, and you were there too, I believe. I've seen Lemon Squad whip out some pretty quick stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and they are one of the teams that has beat Silent Purge this season, so maybe that's the tactic, the winning one.
Ooh boy here. King of the North. If he pushes up a little bit more, he can get a good beat on Mantis, but I don't think he realizes it. Hasn't seen it.
I don't think he'll be ready for Manus' position. And I think Manus won't be ready for Jay or Button here. He's looking over in this angle. He's covering this exact cross. But if you prone, you can get low enough to where the Defilade here can cover you, and you can crawl across this big gap without anybody spotting you from a lot of angles. And that's exactly what Jay and Button have done. They've wormed their way across that gap, and now they're into a position where they can kind of smoke and push into that 3-story middle hotel.
Smoke's coming out onto that hotel.
Yeah, Jay's not happy with him. Manus catches out Don from that middle position. He's keep being distracted by the north button, and Jay need to use that time to move. Manus, though, rotates around, catches Jay trying to cross, and we'll see if King or Button can deal with him here. King trying to shoot him, suppressive fire coming in, not landing, charging in. The tactical reload. Manus wins the exchange. Button still trying to find him, decides to cross instead, and Manus now just does miss Button as he manages to get up into this, at least side of the 3-story.
Button will have to find Femi. I'm just going to call him Femi.
It's easy.
Femi's in a good spot to catch him out.
Wow, look at that. Through 2 windows, catches out Manus.
I'm pretty sure Femi heard that one, even with the silencer. Can only go so quiet.
Yeah, right. He has to know he's here. Architect has also sort of made his advance. He's going to have the toughest of times there, because Spoilty and Nalik, once he's out in the open, will have the angle on him, and not until then. Uh-oh, Nalik peeking here, though. Arc may have had a shot, but doesn't take it.
Button's beginning to make his approach into the hotel here. Femi knows he's there, but does Button realize that his weapon's kind of down? Doesn't.
You know, Button came up there and he just didn't fully clear the stairs as he came up. He was checking the angle behind him and didn't even see Femi right next to him. Femi catches him out, and now they're into a 1v4, and it's looking like it's going to be an exchange of Volk rounds unless Ark can get real lucky and find the right picks. I mean, he's in an interesting spot at the very least, where nobody can really has a line of shot on him right now.
In the middle of the open, man, I wouldn't feel comfortable there.
No,
Oh, he's on fire. He has to duck. Will the helicopter kill him?
Jeez, the dangers.
Didn't his mother teach him not to play with fire?
Unbelievable. No, like just sort of checking that bottom floor just to make sure that Ark isn't punching in the code.
But will Ark see Femi? I think Femi's guarding that window. He's in the open, facing away. Yeah, Femi gets him.
Femi was tucked down so low, just behind that little tiny bit of roofing.
Sheet metal.
Oh my gosh. Just able to stay hidden and to catch that shot out in the open. Nicely done. And yeah, we're keeping the trend of Volk rounds. Vikings take theirs. Now it's Silent Purge's turn, or is it Vikings' turn to grab the first offensive round?
Yeah, Vikings can secure this one. They get the map, and it's a pretty decent MMR too. I believe Silent Purge is ahead of them in rankings. Am I correct?
Sorry, I totally blanked out. Sorry, Todd.
Oh no, you're good. Silent Purge is in 12th place while Vikings is in 20 on worldwide standings. That MMR boost from just winning this and getting a pretty decent point spread.
That is interesting
Would be
because
tremendous.
It is only I mean, it just goes to show you how tight the world rankings are and how close like all these teams really are. Because there's only a 20 MMR difference between them. When I checked, at least when I was looking there, the Silent Purge had 1220 and Vikings had 1200. But yeah, I mean they're separated by nearly 8 ranks in the worldwide rankings. So yeah, definitely an opportunity for Vikings to shoot up quite a bit, and this is probably why they're silver. This is where I'm saying if they can win this match, they very well may become a gold or diamond tier team.
We've seen some good stuff from them in the past. Be very well deserving.
Yeah, and you know I knew this was going to be a good match. I knew Vikings were going to be playing well, and Silent Purge too. They've been playing very diligent. You see here the pre-smokes to allow Ark to kind of get down into his position and not get shot by anybody crossing. Safely down, and they've identified that northeast quick spawn, the first one of the series.
Silent Purge once again choosing to go really spread out in their defense. Everyone kind of occupying this cross of death.
King of the North catching a lot of suppression here from that northeast 2-story.
Once again, we're going to have a bit of a slow thing, probably about at least until the 3-minute mark, I'd imagine.
Yeah, with the rotation that Vikings are putting on here, they're going to send 3, it looks like, all the way around to the south. They already have 1 down there in the ravine, but the other 2 are slowly trailing. Ideally, we don't have any team kills here, too, but both teams just have to be aware of where their friendlies are.
Knocked him, taking some shots down into the Great Abyss. Probably the objective 2-story. Trying to catch up Don Patron. But nothing really finding him.
think Fimi was radioing into his squad that he has pushed up to the south position. Make sure they don't shoot him.
It was Silent Purge who did the team kill earlier, am I correct?
No, I thought Fimi had gotten team killed as well.
Okay. It happens.
It does.
But once it happens in the game, you become a lot more aware of it. You kind of realize how important that even radioing where you're at is so vital.
Look at this. I mean, Fimi in this really advanced position up on this 3-story here. He's going to have some great angles down on the Dawn in a second. Dawn's not careful. It's going to be an easy pick.
Yeah, if they can take out Dawn and Button with a couple of smokes, they could probably get into that basement or go around the front.
I don't know if you saw that right there, Todd, but Fimi here crouched and then slowly inched his way up the stairs to creep his way up over that little ledge to peek. It was really a nice, slow way to peek the angle, and gets that pick. Manus now also maybe going to catch out Button here.
Some really creative moves coming out from these teams here. In a pretty simple game.
A lot of room for complexity. Button rotates into that little window and catches out Manus trying to rotate. Fimi now looking for that refrag, looking for the answer back. Wonder if Button will be aware that he could be onto this top rooftop position. Spoilty is as he catches out Button trying to repeak, and now they have pretty decent control of the south. King of the North has to be careful. He could be getting shot from both the North Hotel and the South if he exposes himself too much. Architect actually gonna do a little work and catch the center approach.
But Fimi's going in.
He's in. How'd he get in? He ran right past him. King of the North realizes it. He gets picked on the backside. SPJ's coming in. Fimi's gonna punch the city. He has all the time in the world. Still hasn't got the code in. He abandons the code, goes for the rifle, exchanges in a trade, and Spoilty catches one on the backside. Vikings take the offensive round.
And they win the map.
Jeez, what happened? The code, he had at least 15 seconds to punch the code in.
You know, I was like, good foreshadowing. I think that first round was a great, poetic, like, how do I even describe that? It was like almost a mirror image.
Jeez.
In the basement, dueling it out. Something's not going right with the code.
Yeah, they're
grabbing the gun and...
You know, it's... Out of all the things to practice, I bet punching in the code is one of the things that teams practice the least.
It's a little hard because...
I mean, it's legitimately. I think it would be worthwhile to sit at an objective and just practice punching in a set code. That's not the one, so you don't end the round, but just punch in codes, just to get used to hitting those. Because I mean, when the pressure's on and you have your shot can be good, you know, because you practice that all day, every day. But the amount of practicing capping that goes on, I imagine, is very close to zero.
Yeah, because there's so many elements that are required into getting to capping in a game. Because first of all, you have to get there, you have to clear the defense, you have to give yourself enough time in order to be able to punch in that code, meaning not allowing any rotations to come in and shoot you.
Yeah.
And then, let alone any dirty tricks that the defense will have, like singing Jenny 8675309 in your ear.
There's a lot of little intricate moments that can come down to it when you get to the caps, but you don't see them often, and we saw it quite a bit there that last round. Now we're going to be shifting things up, moving on for our second round onto Bazaar. And with how back and forth that downfall map was, I'm excited to see how Bazaar shakes out. I think Silent Purge. I just don't know. I don't know how it's gonna go. It's gonna come down to who can get that cap, who can get into the right positions and punch in that code to get the 2-point advantage.
And I do believe this is now Vikings map choice.
I think they have picked to go onto Volk. What it would look like to me at the very least, because Silent Purge are going to be starting off on Marsoc.
Yes, so I'm looking it up now. Silent Purge is the home team, so they got
Yeah.
to do first map choice.
Yeah, I would say either that or Vikings pick this map and Silent Purge win Marsoc, which I think would be very unlikely. I imagine Vikings opting in for the Volk advantage and wasting no time between rounds as we hop into map number 2, round number 1. Silent Purge versus Vikings. Quite a stellar matchup so far, honestly. Some really great moments. I expect some good ones here in Bazaar.
Oh yeah, that close range combat will come into so much of a play here. You can't spread out like we've seen Silent Purge do on their defense.
Go in your position.
Here's Spoilty scolding his team to get to their defensive positions. It actually may cost them. Nalik here could be getting caught out if he's not ready for an early spawn, which is what they got. Our second fast spawn of the series. Jay's already here. Manus
Being noisy. He's not looking up. Oh, now he is, but I don't think he's looking up enough. But he does get Jay.
That is so savvy of Manus to be ready for that angle. I mean, it's a spawn thing. The only way they can get there is if they have the fast spawn. Now, if he really knows the right information, he can radio into his team that they had that quick spawn. Don Patron sending out some shots over here on the far north side.
Yeah, Jay's push was a little ambitious given the fact that the rest of his team are not really as far up as he was.
Button really the only one that's anywhere close. Architect kind of positioned a bit farther back in an overwatch position. And that last member rotating around all the way onto the south side, King of the North, and he'll be trying to make that east approach, which is definitely one of the harder ones to do with the angles that people can take.
And I do believe Nalik could have just spotted that push from, let's see, who was it? From Don Patron. I think he did. I think he radiated it to Mantis. Mantis tried to throw the grenade, but it just came up short and kind of in the wrong place. Don may realize that his position has been compromised.
Definitely wary of someone along that north side of the wall. I don't think he's wary of Manus, who's tucked in this kind of patio area, and of Nalik, who's now prone on that backside. He's much more worried about the north side of the wall. I don't think if he tries to cross, I think Nalik may be able to catch him. And look at, I mean, underneath the pallets, that's the angle Nalik's taking.
There's some pallets and some maps that I don't think you could shoot through, but you can look through.
You can definitely shoot through that one. His shots do miss, though, and now Nalik has to deal with Don Patron, who's on the north, as he calls it out.
Alex choosing to abandon his position, go for the car. It's actually a pretty good rotation, given the fact that, well, Don's the only one on that side.
Meanwhile, the east approach slowly happening. King of the North making his way there, as well as Architect. He's kind of trying to catch anybody out through that sliver. And there's Button, who's in the middle. Don Patron does finally go down. Manus has just been peeking underneath all sorts of things here, as I think he got those shots going out from underneath the car.
Yeah, it's the perk of being a very small insect. You can go into places that
That's not Manus, that's Nalik.
Oh, that's true, right.
Or are you just being rude and calling Nalik a bug? Jeez. Revolt on Tog, guys. The rudest caster.
I'm not just calling Nalik. I don't just call Nalik names. I call everybody names. Okay. Hate everybody equally.
Button managed to sort of inch his way up. I mean, he's right inside objective courtyard area here. Just kind of waiting for the rest of his team to make their move. And they are in a 3v5.
Notka might catch him out here if he's not careful, but I think Arc Attack has created a distraction that Button could move up if he finds Femi.
There's a lot.
But he's got to be really quiet.
Yeah, there's a lot that has to happen for this to go with the way of Silent Purge.
Ooh, but Femi's crossing that corner. I don't really think he expects it. He doesn't, and he gets downed and out.
Oh my gosh, Spoilty gets caught out by King. I think he was clipping through the wall. A nice flank by Manus. Catches Arc Attack on the backside, and we're into a 2v3.
Notka is memorizing the code. Button catches Notka. My apologies, I got my names mixed up.
Yep, you're getting all twisted here. King of the North and
yes,
Button here on objective Nalik. Really the only one here to defend. Manus trying to rotate around, and will Button be able to catch him out? Will he hear the footsteps behind him?
I think he hears it. He catches Mantis.
Silent Purge trying to kick things off, and they do with an offensive win and take their Marsoc round, go up 1-0. They want this map. That's a great, that is the best answer back you can have after losing to a Marsoc round on Downfall. You know, that's to then take a Marsoc round on the next map. It's a great way to start off a comeback.
Yeah, it definitely evens out that MMR. But keep in mind, it's not really, the game is still really close MMR wise because there's only 4-3. And if Silent Purge can take this map, we'll have a tied game on our hands.
And we'll be coming down to that third one. It's been a little bit, I feel like, since I've seen a series that's come down to the third map. But I don't know, maybe that's just a momentum thing or something I've been seeing as a trend in the NA, because I haven't watched a ton of EU games this season, but I'd love to see.
there was the Riot Ember game that came down to the last round of the last
I was talking about me, myself. I haven't watched the game. That's come down to the last map in quite a while. Yeah, I know. It happens every time. I say something like, I haven't seen this in a while, and my co-caster's like, oh, I just saw it. And it's like, yeah, we all cast different maps, okay? We all cast different games. I don't see everything.
Come on, you're like the league casting mod. You should see everything. I bet you have like eyes in the back of your head or something that like you have like an eye specifically trained for OBS.
I don't know. Going into round number 2 of map 2. Silent Purge kicking off their comeback nicely.
Bit of a spread coming from Silent Purge here as they choose to go into basically the far corners of the map along that wall. Trying to catch on anyone who tries to go on that north flank, which there are 2 of them currently. Femi and Spoilty. Spoiled.
We've been casting a round and a map and a half. It's Spoilty.
Spoilty. Sorry, that dyslexia is kicking in.
South approach coming out, Nalik and crew. Had that slow spawn, so it's going to be a bit.
Femi is ready to make this cross across the street here.
Jay denies that. Nice little peek out of there. He was watching that angle through the small little gap in the wood there and popped out, got the pick. Don Patron also going to try and take his luck at a pick, but doesn't get it as Nalik catches him, evening things out into a 4v4. Also tried to nade Jay, it looks like. Tossed one over to that side. Didn't quite get to the right spot, but they are aware of Jay's location. Vikings looking for an answer back as Nalik here gets up into the blue room. A very dangerous position. Man is prone near objective. Picks coming out left and right here. They need to crash back towards objective here. They're into a 2v4. Manus pad out. Button does get there but can't catch him as Manus switches to gun and gets the pick. And now here he's trying to punch in the code. Vikings may be taking the lead 2-1 here at their first offensive round. And they are. A botch nade. King of the North hits himself with it. And Vikings take the cap and the lead 2-1. Todd, where'd you go?
I just realized I muted myself.
There's no way you can be silent during that cap.
I know. I was commentating my heart out, man, and that's caught on camera. So some amazing plays on objective from the offense here. Being able to switch from tablet to gun in just a split second and find a pick, go back to capping.
That was
all of that.
That was an unreal swap.
Becoming a bigger part of the league, and I'm loving it. Overall, very impressed by Vikings. Statistically, Silent Purge has come out as a better team, but
they're the diamond rank.
Yeah, against I believe.
Who do they play in the Button Cup?
Vikings or Silent Purge?
Silent Purge.
Silent Purge. And to answer my first question, it is a diamond versus silver game here.
Yeah.
But Silent Purge's Button Cup was against Cold Steel, which they won 8-10 with 2 maps, only losing to Suburbia to Cold Steel.
Yeah, they were looking good there. But Vikings, man, this season, I think they've really stepped up their game. I don't remember them being such a formidable force last season, but they have been really taking it to a lot of teams. You know, and it's great to see a kind of a new strong team show up here in the EU side. Maybe not new. New is not the right word, but they are definitely they're doing very well this season.
I didn't cross them in objective building.
Smoke's coming out for the cross. I don't think it's completely obscuring.
It did enough. Jay got a cross. Architect does get knocked them. Nate almost catching Jay there, and Suppressifiers in. Silent Purge with a nice approach so far. Jay here can basically inch his way up to objective, but Spoilty with a bit of a safer angle is looking through the window and catches him out. Button finding Fimi in the middle, and we're into a 3v4.
It's one in objective building.
Spoilty has 2 people on his hands directly in front of him, Architect and Button UK. He might not see Button, but I'm pretty sure he sees Arc.
Manus was trying to rotate to support Spoilty, but he got caught out, and now they're into a 2v5. Silent Purge, even after being capped on, coming in so strong on their next offensive round. Spoilty, though, does get one. Has to heal, and he's going to look for another. Nalik able to find Button in the middle, and Vikings are answering back with picks of their own. Now they're into a 2v2.
Dawn pretty far up here in this alleyway. Spoilty's right around that corner. They trade.
Nalik confirming that kill, and King of the North, with 4 minutes now on the clock, is approaching from the middle. He almost had that flanking angle onto Nalik, but wasn't quite there in time.
And it's a 1v1.
Are high. Nalik just listening for any indicator. Definitely the smart choice, because King of the North is going to have to fully commit with pad out if he wants to avoid Nalik hearing him. Well, I guess you can't kind of quietly pull it out now, so Nalik has to check all the angles. King of the North inching his way up into the middle, using wood for cover, which is risky, but something.
The visual cover it provides is tremendous.
Yeah.
However, wood is not bulletproof.
I think that's why I like Bazaar so much. You have all that crazy action where sometimes you just get these wild trades of rounds through wood.
King could have just spotted Nalik right there if he looked through the cracks.
Just saw a little dance there from King.
Hey, whatever keeps that heart rate down, man.
Tosses out a nade. Will it catch? Oh, it almost does catch Nalik out on that one rotation around the corner.
King's time's running out, man. He's got 2 minutes, but when you're on a 1v1, you need all the time you can have.
Flash comes out.
If Nalik wasn't sure which direction he was coming from, he should know now. It looks like he's about to peek, but he might get caught up by King here if he goes up too far. Chooses not to. Good move.
Man, just so close. And King now comes crashing in. Nalik taking some shots out onto a dead body, maybe getting distracted by that. King of the North now up onto the 2-story, and Nalik's waiting for him to drop down. He comes down, pre-firing the angle. It's silent Purge. Nalik wins the trade and takes the Volk round. Or was it the Marsoc round?
Whatever it is, it's tied up now.
Yeah, Silent Purge took the Marsoc round. Apologies. I thought, wow, I guess Nalik didn't win the trade.
Those trades are always weird, especially at the end of the round. It's whoever dies first loses, right?
I have no idea how it's calculated. And I think I've become so accustomed to the score announcements being wrong that I got thrown off there. But yeah, Silent Purge did take that round. The Marsoc win coming through, and we're tied up 2-2.
Vikings does have a chance to cap again. And take home the map and the game.
It's such a good series boost. We've talked about it a lot already, but they are playing really well. They're definitely deserving of climbing the ranks with the performance they're putting on today. Silent Purge, though, they are fighting back tooth and nail, putting in some great offensive rounds of their own. I mean, this is great. The Bazaar, this Bazaar matchup's fantastic to watch, because Downfall we were getting slow, methodical, and now we're getting methodical but a bit faster paced.
Yeah, we're not going down into the final minute. We're going into the final 2 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, it says
one improvement.
It still comes down to the later half of the rounds, but I don't know, maybe we'll get a fast one here as we get into round number
3. Or 4. No, we're in round number 4. Neither of us can math.
No, we sure can't.
We play video games.
Which, I mean, I guess we really should be mathing if we... But...
It is all numbers. But I played video games instead of going to math class.
Very true. We'll see if Manus and his dedication to video games pays off with this forward position. Be looking for those early shots and that early pick here.
It looks like they're going to opt to go on the same kind of push that Silent Purge was doing earlier.
I think the problem is if you don't do it quick enough, it can end up sort of not catching anybody off guard. King of the North, if he just stays diligent on his angles, he may be able to sort of deny the cross. It's going to take really good smokes, basically, is what I'm saying. Instead of being able to use element of surprise and that quick pace, they're going to have to use perfection here.
Yeah, the wonders of using the smokes right off the ground is that no one can get set up to pick you off in time. But now...
Can you shoot him, Mark?
Now since there's gunfire actually coming from that side, everybody's looking over there. If you throw smokes, they're all just going to fire into that smoke and blind fire you until you pretty much die.
Loyalty here up onto that second floor does trade with Button and is unresable, so 2 instas. Turns it into a 4v4. King of the North going to try his hand at a nade here. It's a decent bounce, but it's not close enough to Nala because he tucks into the wood and stays in cover. Here it comes. The call out to go. A good smoke. This is why Nalik pushed up, so he could put an on-point smoke to the corner there. It denies King of the North vision, and it doesn't require them to have perfect smokes. Manus tried to shift and catch an angle out, or sorry, Architect did, and Manus denies that. Now King of the North has to rotate. All the while, Fimi has managed to cross. Manus, too. Manus is in objective building. Vikings are trying to cap again. The rotation from Jay is too slow. Dompatron on the backside can't move in time. And if Fimi had just held off on the shots, Manus may have been able to take the map and take the series, but instead they take the kills and take the lead. 3-2.
Sometimes it helps just to click on your radio a bunch of times and just to say that, hey, my tablet's out.
Yeah, communication there would have been pretty important. I mean, it takes a lot, too, to resist shooting an enemy, especially in a tight league match like this. So I don't blame Fimi for taking those shots, but he was right there punching the code in.
And communication on what is a 2-minute round, or just over a 2-minute round, which is something we haven't seen much this series. It's kind of hard to communicate that quickly.
I mean, those were just great smokes, denied vision, forced rotations, and then they were ready for the rotations. Got those picks and moved off of them. A very nice push from Vikings. They're looking so coordinated and so on point this series. Silent Purge are just going to really have to work. And I mean, now Vikings going into their Volk round, this is it. Silent Purge really, they do have to work. They have to take this round if they want to keep into the series.
They can cap if they get crafty, but...
Oh my gosh, the pressure. Could you imagine? We've seen some flubbed codes getting entered in already. Add into the intensity of the entire series being on the line.
If Don can just hold on to his tablet.
Too soon, man. Too soon.
It's never too soon. This is a fairly capable objective. Silent Purge are definitely not out of the count here. I'm pretty sure Vikings do realize that.
Certainly hope so. Now Silent Purge are not going to roll over and take this next round lightly. Interestingly enough, some early smokes here. And Vikings looking for what I think was an aggressive defensive rotation there. Manus wanted to cross the street with that smoke and get across. Was unable to. Architect catches him out, and the perfect start for Silent Purge.
Definitely something different coming out of Vikings. We've always known Vikings, at least in this game, to have held very tight defense.
That's very true, dude. You've been saying at the start of nearly every Silent Purge round that their defense is spread, and I've kind of been noticing Vikings much tighter. Instead, they kind of they opt in for something different when it's been working so well. I just don't. An interesting call, to say the least, you know?
It could be that Mantis has fallen victim to a very common symptom called get her done-itis, where just want to get her done.
Yeah, absolutely, and does not pay off. Silent Purge now inching their way in the mini courtyard where there is very little defense. Pretty much Spoilty, the only one here.
Ooh, and a good nade, but just doesn't find Nalik.
A lot of angles being covered.
Very good defensive setup, even with the man down.
That is, I like Spoilty being tucked in there, and I like them not having anyone in that mini courtyard area. I'm gonna say I like Fimi's position, but it has definitely been identified by Button in this window, and now they're in a bit of an exchange of fire.
And the key to that position is to always be looking, well, parallel to that wall, but if you want to fire back, well, kind of have to go a little perpendicular, so.
See him angling his gun there, and we have all sorts of an exchange of fire here between Nalik as well. Spoilty actually the one to take the pick there, and Gad's Architect, and he's going to try and come around the backside of Button, and a great flank from him, and now Vikings suddenly turning the tides into a 4v3. King of the North trying to even things out as he catches out Nalik. Don Patron going down to knock them, and people going down left and right with 3:30 left.
Early C4 from the Vikings, not finding anybody.
Fimi rotating out, maybe a little bit too exposed, gets tagged once. Drops behind the cover of wood.
Put some more feet in and keep on fighting.
Meanwhile, Jay in the courtyard. Spoilty keeps inching up here and goes into that two-story. Jay does have an angle on his back.
Yeah, some very good rotations coming out of Vikings here. Despite being two people down,
Yeah.
they still have excellent coverage of objectives, covering all the lanes that could pretty much be possibly done.
Spoilty with that flank grabbing Button was huge for sure.
King in the North beginning to make his move here, crossing the street.
Timing up with Jay, who's also pretty close as well.
We're seeing a two-man pincer here.
Yep.
But will Fimi see him through the crates here?
Yes, he does, but King of the North
Sees him through
spots
the
him.
window, gets him.
Oh. SBJ crosses the street, but knocked him. The third member of the three-man Vikings defense catches out the rotation, and Vikings take the series and the second map 4-2. Not what I would anticipate. Not what I was anticipating.
Incredible.
Oh.
Just incredible stuff.
Really good
coming out of
series.
Vikings. I'm gonna reiterate this again.
Yeah.
Silent Purge is a diamond ranked team. They have been what we would call a diamond ranked team for probably season 4, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Vikings a little more unheard of.
Yeah, they at least in the top tier of things. They've only been around since season 4. They've had a few seasons to kind of work things out, and it seems like things are really clicking in season 7 here. They are working well together, taking 2 maps 4-2 against Silent Purge, and then going into another very close quarters map for the third one to Suburbia. it's definitely an opportunity to grab a third map onto Silent Purge, really push your MMR up a good bit, and start to kind of. It's going to be a new ball game for them. They're going to be really. The thing about EU though is that a lot of the teams are just all around well-rounded. So ranking in the EU means a little bit less because the pool is a little bit smaller. So you know the silver diamond difference, maybe not as big of a thing as it would be if it was in the NA division, but still, yeah, they are definitely going to be a nice chunk of change for them, especially if they can grab the third map.
I'm actually rather interested in seeing what Silent Purge is going to do on Suburbia. They don't really have the option to take it that as slow as they have before, otherwise they could easily get flanked.
And this is, I mean, I guess this is their map pick, so they're going on Marsoc. So yeah, we have Vikings going on Volk again. I think they've started on Volk every round.
It seems to be working for them.
Yeah, certainly does. I'm surprised Silent Purge have let it happen, but either way, here we are, awaiting the final map to kick off and see if Silent Purge can salvage the damage done. Definitely an opportunity to tie. I mean, they could tie the scoreline up if they can really shift things into gear and grab 4 unanswered points.
Yeah, they could probably save their MMR that way, because MMR is judged completely off of what the scores. Yeah, the scores are, if I can phrase that properly.
The end scoreline.
Yes, that's exactly what I mean.
See what that end scoreline is right after we dive into our final map of Suburbia. Map number 3, round 1, Silent Purge Vikings.
Flare gun coming out. I do not know if they have allowed that or not. Because I believe the flare gun is on the list of weapons that both teams have to agree to. Am I correct?
I don't think the flare gun is.
Okay.
It's a flare gun.
It is a flare gun, but
On a day map. I think it'll be alright. It's probably just a kit mistake, if anything. I doubt it'll get used.
Mantis peering through the bushes here. Should either hear or see Arc Attack. He does. Gets the quick frag. King of the North now knows exactly where Mantis is, though, now. Mantis is getting a little ambitious here, but catches King of the North. Nalik shooting at a blank space, baby.
A little pre-fire through the wood, supporting Manus to make sure he wasn't getting pushed. Dom Patron waiting for this push from Manus. And a trade goes out. 2 insta-kills and Silent Purge into a 2v4. Kind of surrounded here in this little playground. They was, then he drops back, realizes he may be a little exposed. Nade comes up over the top, catches Button out. Not an insta-kill though, Jay can't get the res.
Not come. It looked like he was going to go around the house, but I think he's choosing to play a little safer. But Sploity is right around the corner there. Jay somehow manages to get that revive and not be seen by Sploity. Spoily gets Button. Excuse me for using the incorrect name. And Nakam gets Jay.
And then the C4 that was on Spoilty gets detonated in celebration. Vikings take their Volk round. Continue the streak.
Hey, C4 always livens up a party.
I agree.
Vikings just dominating right now. I think they found their groove in Downfall. They kind of were using that map to kind of figure out how Silent Purge plays, because like we said, like I've said many times, they like to defend very openly, which can work because then you catch the team when they're not as condensed on objective. But at the same time, it leaves objective very open. I think they found that. I think they understood that riddle.
Yeah. It is a tough one. There's differing theories, different approaches on how to handle it. Two-minute timer between rounds, so teams have the opportunity to hash out any sort of strategies that they desire. And they're going to use all 2 minutes of it. Silent Purge definitely want to take this. They're not rolling over, you know. They don't want to just give up these rounds, it seems like.
It was a bug, I guess. Hey, they're preferring, make sure you walk along the house. I'll put it in front.
Marsak exchanging drums. It's so nice not to be able to, or not to have to reload on this map. Especially with how quick these plays can just come out here.
Yeah, they almost
Especially
died
coming out of
early
nowhere.
there. The free fire coming in through the wood.
Oh yeah, you're right, I do.
I think that pre-fire spot was only discovered this season. I haven't really seen it used before that.
You could always shoot down that lane. I think it wasn't allowed for a while. But it definitely has seen some resurgence this season.
Good nade coverage in a place where Volk just isn't there.
Yeah. This can be sort of the downside of using nades here. Maybe they're assuming they've caught at least one and have an advantage. But none of them have landed. It's still very much a 5v5. Smoke's come out. A C4 is detonated. Fimi. Spoilty causes havoc. Knocks them. Trade finds Dawn actually in the carport, and Vikings are winning the exchanges here. Good shot from the carport there. Nice rotation from Architect, and now Silent Purge going on the offensive. Architect charges in and finds two. Evens it out into a 1v2. They're dropping back towards objective. Manus catches one on the rotation. Sorry, Nalik rather. Catches one on the rotation and catches the other on the backside. You hear him celebrating his lack of a stock, a lack of a pro tube. It's definitely, I think Global Chem, a couple of those global guys don't use one, so it's definitely a strategy. Some of the top tier
It's a personal
teams.
preference.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some people love the. I personally really like the immersion of having the 3 points of contact and being able to kind of confidently hold your firearm in game in a much more realistic sense. But some people really like that freedom that holding two controllers in the air provides. And some of them have really like steady surgical hands, like they can probably pull off some pretty wicked shots on Downfall.
Well, there's strategy to it too. Like you have to. It looks strange, but you take your backhand and put it up against your chin to stabilize it, and then you use your front hand. You tuck into your side, so you're kind of like elbows tucked into your sides for stability. Your backhand on your chin, and then your left hand, and you can get pretty tight on a gun. To make those long-range shots if you have to.
Yeah, everyone has like a different method. I
Yeah.
was always taught just one hand to bolt action and make that first shot count. And I thought that even then my hands are a little too shaky for that. So I 3D printed myself a stock and I'm loving it.
Yeah, the rest is history, so they say.
Yes.
Diving into round number 3 of map 3, Vikings taking map 1 4-2 and map 2 4-2, Downfall and Bazaar respectively. Been a good performance from them so far. Silent Purge have definitely been battling it out with them back and forth, but Vikings just really, their coordination on point.
Silent Purge choosing to pre-fire?
Yeah, a little bit of an
The
answer back
pre-fire.
there. They almost caught Spoilty out, but he's crouched and approaching behind the sandbag, so he'll be able to tuck himself in and look for any angles through the shrubs here. Don Patron advancing forward quickly, and Spoilty, maybe a subject, somehow doesn't see this.
Architect down to teammate.
Spoilty finally picks up Don, and some team kills in the center. Button catches out Nalik, and a couple of kills going out across the map as we're into a 3v3.
Rest of Silent Purge are moving up now after hanging back and trying to catch any picks from far back or catch any flankers for that matter. I think Vikings have always stayed true to what they've always done and just stayed near objective.
Maybe they're getting a little bit of that get her done syndrome as well. Coming down to that final map, they have the 2-0 lead. They really just want to keep pushing in and grab rounds. A little over aggression costing them, but it's still a 3v3. There's still some good defensive positions like Spoilty here, who could turn around and get the back of Architect if he wanted.
Yeah, and because of this MMR difference, the stakes are higher MMR-wise. It's really crucial for Silent Purge here to get some points on the board and plug a couple holes in their leaking ship.
Well, that was Architect confirming knocked him, the most recent kill feed there. Spoilty here, about to find the back of Architect. Again, waiting very patiently before taking the shots, and now we're into a 3v2. Manus and King of the North training make it a 2v1.
He does call out Spoily.
Yeah, and I think him asking for the res may have kind of thrown Button's approach off. He had smoked Femi and was going to try and cross the street, but after his teammate went down, he dropped back. Maybe he's going to rotate around and look for that res, in which case he is going to have to fight with Spoilty.
Yeah, 1v2. He doesn't really have much of an option. The res might be his best course of action. After all, you want all the manpower you could possibly get your hands on. He will have to win with Spoilty, but if he does get it, his team will have the advantage. He's choosing to go around the long route, but
No.
Spoilty's anticipating it.
Yeah, he is. He's using that body as bait.
King is calling him out. Probably not as accurate as Button needs it to be.
Spoilty should also hear the call out so he can position himself accordingly.
I don't think he's in really the best position. But we might see something really clever come out. I don't know. We have the res. It's 2v2. One cleverly timed nade could shift the tide of war here.
2 minutes left on the clock. Silent Purge, you're going to have to start moving a little bit here shortly.
I didn't think. I thought I saw. Or at least I thought I heard King calling out Spoilty. And you think you would know he's still there. He might be trying to just go around and catch him.
I think Spoilty just heard a mic pop from King and kind of snapped his attention over there. He has a really nice angle of King and Button try and cross.
King might go
He's
down
waiting.
there, but Button might be able to get this refrag.
I think another one school bus, I'm not sure.
Catches King, and yeah, he was waiting to see if Button would also try and go out there so he could get a good double, but takes one and drops back.
The reposition is just as equally as important as that refrag. But Button's going for the kill.
I think Spoilty dropped back. Himself into a bit more of a defensive corner where he can get the support of Fimi, turning it really into a nice 2v1.
Oh man, this side Button has such a disadvantage because Fimi is watching that corner right there, and exactly.
Spoilty really drawing his attention with all of those picks and, I mean, being the main distraction while Fimi catching out the rotation. And now Vikings going into their offensive round, they may be the ones that take this 4-0. That would be the best case scenario for Vikings. They have been doing so well in this series so far. They can grab this final map 4-0. End score will be 12-4.
Honest opinion here, were you expecting this much of a score difference?
I mean, it wasn't too big. You know, 8-4 isn't too bad for the first two maps, but now to have this sort of be 3-0, I think Silent Purge are at least going to grab, I would think they're going to grab a round or two here on Suburbia, but they may just be too down off of losing this series. And Vikings, if they can capitalize on momentum, yeah, I know I wasn't expecting it, but it definitely could happen.
When you're this far down in the hole, you only have two mindsets. One, get it over with. Two, let's turn this around.
Yeah.
Silent Purge is a weathered team. They've probably been in situations like this before and come out of it. I wonder if they'll kind of make things click together.
Finally hopping in to the round. Vikings trying to put a good bow on the series and sending a little flare out.
Giving away their spawn point.
Brightening things up a little bit, making it a little bit more intense.
Or they just really like fireworks.
Yeah. Button catching out the early aggression from Noctum Nalik with a nice refrag there. Nades coming out and over a bit too far to get both of them, but it does catch Manus out. He'll be resable, so Spoilty is going to get that res off.
A very aggressive start from the Vikings.
We'll trade there with Jay, and both here, Jay and Button are resable. Oh no, a team kill on the back end by Spoilty, and now he's into a 1v3.
Silent Purge looking good to get their first point on this map. One that they really need. I think Spoiler's going to try to go for cap.
I wonder if he could. They're watching it? Yeah, they are. They definitely got eyes on the objective.
It's not as close as you would think, but we've been seeing Silent Purge.
I don't know if they prone up there. I don't know if Don's really covering the angles.
Spolte's going prone with the gun out, not the tablet. He's anticipating this.
I think Don does see him there, and he does catch him out. Good shots from the backside, and Silent Purge grabbing their first round on Suburbia.
I think Silent gotten into the swing of things here, knowing that Vikings are going to be much more of an aggressive team.
Yeah.
Very well anticipated push.
Yeah. I think we're probably going to get, I don't know, I think we may see another aggressive move from Vikings on defense here too, just because they seem to kind of want to just get the round, end the map, which could really bite them in the back, you know, end up biting them and allow Silent Purge to get a few on the board.
Get her done syndrome is a very serious condition.
No
You should always
laughing
talk
matter.
to your doctor. Always talk to your doctor. This objective is a very... You can play this objective very aggressively, and you can cap if you do, but there's a sort of finesse to it. You gotta know where to pre-fire. You gotta have good smoke, so that muscle memory comes into play. And just being able to be loud and quick. Silent
well.
Purge could do all the following there. They could potentially get a cap and tie this map up.
Loud and quick isn't exactly how the series has gone so far. You have a quick round reset there.
And a C4 with a squad wipe.
Too bad those don't count to the score line.
I'd love to see someone with that negative number.
Like, there's too much weed. I can't handle all this team kill. Thank you.
Y'all motherfuckers ready?
You hear him still laughing after the end of that explosion, and Vikings definitely in good spirits after taking the series.
I, however, am not seeing the flare gun, so this does signify a change in tactics here. Very significant change in tactics.
Yep. Drastic difference.
Ooh, and a grenade team kill.
Very unfortunate. Manus does catch one.
We are still down one compared to the other team. 4v3.
And getting caught up in the trees, doesn't hit on Jay, and just suppressive fire heavily going out across the other side of the map.
Vikings have shown that they can defend with a man down.
Yeah, Manus doing work here in this forward position. Maybe able to catch a third with Don as he trades. Vikings go up 3-2. Malik confirming the kill, and he may be able to go up and get that res if he moves fast. Attempted air burst there from Arc. Pulled it too high.
I don't... that res is going to be pretty risky
agree.
if Arc picks his head up, but he doesn't anymore. He's dead.
Vikings want to end this map. They want to take it 4-1 and really solidify the series for themselves. King of the North, the last one alive, is going to have to battle it out 1v3.
Can they clean up Silent Purge?
Got a lot of time left. 4 minutes.
There we go.
Just
King of
waiting.
the North.
Hey, there's the flare.
There it is.
Gets shot off as Vikings take that final map. Take the whole dang series. 12-5. Man.
I think that was the most important part of the tactics, was switching up when to use that flare gun.
Yeah, definitely had a big effect on that last map. Very
The
important.
flare gun
stuff.
is an incredible morale booster.
On the day maps too.
Yeah.
I think that is going to be it from us, though, at least for now. We have another matchup coming in about an hour and 15 minutes. Globochem will be battling it out, I think. Is that right? Let me double check that. I just got to make sure that I'm right on my matches. Yes, Globochem and Animal House will be battling it out here in an hour and 15 minutes, so keep the stream up or tune in then. If you want to get involved with the league and know when all the matches are going to be cast and by who, head on over to the VR Master League, or head on over to vrmasterleague.com/onward, where you can get all the information on the Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, Reddit links, as well as the Discord links. And if you click on matches, you can see when their matches are going to be cast, by who, and where. So all your information in one-stop shop. I think that's going to be it from us here this afternoon. My name is NightFiree with 2 E's. My co-caster, Todd Habercorn. Good night, or good afternoon, good evening, good night.
It depends where you are.
True.
If you're in the EU, it's probably like nighttime.
Good night.
So, good night to our EU fans.